Yes, you did.
No, we didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, we didn't.
Whoa there, what are you guys arguing about? Calm down.
He accuses you of stealing everything from Rome.
No, we didn't.
Oh, I see. What do we compare and contrast the United States and Rome? The United States has a democratic form of government, just like ancient Rome. We also get many of our laws from Rome. So the question becomes, are we Rome? In this video, we will take a deep dive into this topic regarding government, daily life, and entertainment. As mentioned before, the United States government is most similar to the Roman government during the time of the Republic, although there are still significant differences. For example, during the time of the Roman Republic, only adult male Roman citizens could vote. Rome during the time of the Republic also had a Senate, but the powers are very different from those of the Senate of the United States. The Senate in the time of the Republic was a body of 300 men. All of them were wealthy, but they included both patricians and plebeians. There were officials called the censors, who were considered the wealth, amount of property, and
Legal reasons, that's a joke.
and supposedly also considered the moral character of Roman citizens. In the United States, senators are chosen by direct election by the people of each state. The number of senators that represented each state would depend on the population of the state. Once chosen, Roman senators would serve for life unless they were removed by the censors. Being removed was considered a huge disgrace. In the United States, Senate elections are held every 2 years. Senators would serve terms of 6 years each. Terms are staggered, so approximately a third of the senator seats would be up for election. In Rome, the senators and magistrates handled day-to-day governing. The Senate spoke in the order of rank and debated policies. Unlike the Senate of the United States, however, they couldn't actually pass laws. Instead, their votes would result in advisory decrees, which would be presented to the Comitia Populi Tributa, which was Rome's actual legislative body. The Senate did have certain powers, however, like authority over the treasury and deciding which officials would be sent to govern provinces. Also, it decided which governors should be recalled and which should have their terms extended. In the United States, senators are responsible for drafting, debating, and voting on legislation. It can also confirm appointments, conduct impeachment proceedings, advise and consent in certain appointments, and ratify trade agreements, etc.
Farmers formed the backbone of the military, and becoming a soldier was risky. However, with high risk comes with high reward. If you're able to ascend the ranks of military, you may become the next Caesar. Daggers, short swords, and javelins were the most commonplace weapons in the Roman legions. In the US, the M4 carbine is the preferred weapon of the army. Armor was made of iron and leather, and helmets had bronze and had crests. In the US, protective equipment is made of composite materials that have the potential to stop a low caliber bullet. Just like in America, soldiers were paid salaries. However, in Rome, high ranking military officials were much more likely to become members of the Senate, while in the US, those who spent their lives in the military often end up retiring. The risks were also much different. In the US during peacetime, fertility rate is very low with so much modern equipment and little conflict. In the time of Romans, even many generals such as Crassus, a member of the first triumvirate, died in war. The typical Roman family would have been so much more similar to traditional American families, where the father would work and earn a living while the mother took care of the children in the house. In modern times, many families have this reversed, or both parents worked. Let's take a look at glaring similarities now. Both Roman and American families had daily chores that they would do. Both rented houses, and a relatively modern system of mortgage existed. However, many upper-class families simply owned homes, just like in the United States. In Rome, most money came from agriculture and trade. Many owned farms. Those in the United States mostly owned houses or apartments. All Romans wore similar clothing. The most common item was the tunic and a long shirt that had short sleeves. In public, males would wear a toga over their tunic. This is form of the formal/informal, which would also exist in modern culture. In the United States, for example, at home, most people probably wear t-shirts, hoodies, and similar clothing. However, if you visit a fancy restaurant, you will pick something a lot more formal, like a suit or a dress. Rome at first was a small farming community. At first, they traded salt, which added flavor to foods, but also preserved them. Another early product which was traded was wine. Today, the United States imports and exports many different materials. The top exports included petrol, cars, and integrated circuits. Many different services available now also existed in Rome. For example, in the destroyed city of Pompeii, there were barbers, surgeons, cloth makers, carpenters, goldsmiths, and grocers. Some professions that aren't common today include mule driving and mat making. Less educated or skilled people could find short-term or part-term jobs such as unloading ships and doing errands for the wealthy. Today, those who need an extra buck could work at a grocery store or at McDonald's, just like in the United States. Banks would loan people money and they would pay back the money with interest. City life in Roman times was often uncomfortable or dangerous. The wealthy owned their own large homes, and several generations of the family often lived together. Most poor people lived in rented rooms or apartments. These apartments existed in buildings that were sometimes 3 stories tall. The privacy expectations are quite lacking. The rooms in apartments or buildings were small and dark, while living conditions in the United States are often much better. Religion played a key role in families, just like it does for many families in the United States. However, Roman religion was focused on daily life in the present rather than a perfect afterlife in the heaven. Magistrates, generals, and emperors would often base their decisions on auspices. This wouldn't occur in today's world.
While injuries while playing sports at the most might be a torn ACL in modern days, in Rome they might not always end up alive after this activity. Even in fighting sports, like fencing, people may get competitive, but they would never kill someone at the end of the day, no matter how competitive. Gladiator shows, which were the most common form of spectator sports, included duels man-to-man and fighting against animals. Those who fought against wild beasts died most of the time. The Romans also had drama and theater to watch. Greek drama heavily influenced Rome drama. By the 400s AD, some actors put on Greek plays, with comedies being more popular than tragedies. In the United States, theater has really taken a step back in terms of popularity compared to movies and shows. However, plays that do exist often take inspiration from others as well. For example, Shakespeare. Circuses also exist in ancient Rome, just like how they do today, but they're much different from circuses today. Chariot racing was the most popular entertainment in Rome world. Other circus sports included Greek athletic, boxing, and wrestling.
Yes, you did.
No, we didn't.
Legal reasons, that's a joke.